A new year, my anti-circ friends feel see Tugger, Elaine, Escape Society, Joelface, and others. No, masturbation is prohibited by the Torah, and we are constrained from where we look and what we think, and we are commanded by God to circumcise our children, irrespective of what the consequences may be. This is God's command to us. Nonetheless, we believe that the Torah is the word of the Creator of the universe, who is the ultimate doctor and knows better than anyone else what is good and what is bad for us. Therefore, it is my firm belief that ultimately people will see that circumcision is really beneficial for the males who do so. Primarily when it's done when a child is very, very young. And that seems to be the wisdom gathered by people who've done research on that. Now, I know that there are lots of you who disagree with that concept, and I'm not going to convince you otherwise. This is a few days before Yom Kippur, and I wish to forgive you for your insults, the names you call me, the disparaging statements that you've made, as well as a host of other inconsistencies and foolishness. Some people have threatened my life. Some people have derided me and stated that I have no ability to understand and that I have a 5th grade education. Some of my students are PhDs and are some of the most brilliant people in the area that I live. That doesn't mean that I am of their caliber, but apparently if they come to listen to what I have to say, there must be something that I have for which they are listening. I know that today I'm not a scientist and that I'm not at the level of those doing scientific research. However, I have kept abreast with some of the reports. I see the reports from time to time as they come across the wire services, the internet. And let me state clearly, I have never, ever believed in interspecies evolution. I believe it's a hoax. I believe that there is no evidence that this actually ever happened at all. All of the various so-called intermediate species have not changed in millions of years, and they still don't change. But they're all changing. They're all changing. They're changing within themselves, not changing to something else altogether. This is not God of the gaps. This is very, very clearly that there are impossibilities that exist. For example, it is impossible for any of you to conceive of a color you've never seen before. It is impossible for a person who's never heard to be able to hear, or a person who's never seen to imagine what it is to see. It is beyond their pale. It is impossible for us to imagine what it's like to be able to see infrared or X-rays, or to hear the dog whistle, because it's beyond the limits of the human condition. Same way, it is impossible for a creature who has never had a taste, a sense of taste or smell or sight or hearing or touch. It is impossible for those creatures to develop those things because it is beyond any of their imagination, and it is beyond any mechanism of their original existence, and there is no reason why this would happen. And I don't care how many billions of years. You take a human being and listen, just take a human being and have him think and imagine a color he's never seen before. Let him try to do it for 1 billion years. Do you really think that he can see a different color other than the spectrums, colors? That's impossible. Those are the limits of his existence. The same thing is true to imagine a sound you've never heard, can't hear. There is nothing in time that will go on and give you those things. Now, if you cannot see a color in your mind's eye that you've never seen before, outside of the spectrum, and you cannot hear something outside of that which you can hear within the limits of the human condition, how much more so is it impossible for a one-celled animal to develop sight and hearing, smell, taste, touch, and emotion? It's completely outside of the imagination of the one-celled animal who's just trying to gobble up some putrid-smelling thing next to it in order to live. So, my friends, I leave you with that thought. God created this world, and God gave us the Torah. And God commanded for us to follow the Torah, including the commandment to circumcise. God also gave us the commandment to love everyone as we love ourselves. And so, my wish for you is that you find comfort in whatever field you're doing, and that you learn to care for another person as they wish to be cared for, not as you wish to care for them. I understand you've told me you love me, but you love me only when I would listen to you. I love you even when you don't listen to me. And I ask for the same consideration. You don't have to agree with me, but you have to respect my position. It's just as well thought out as yours.